impaired drivers. Opponents question whether the lower limit would change behavior and raise concerns about impacts on restaurants and bars. Lawmakers say the debate is likely to continue next session. Washington's new $100 million grant program to hire more police officers has yet to distribute any money, and that's drawing frustration from local leaders. The program, backed by the governor, is aimed at improving staffing levels after Washington ranked last in the nation per capita yet again. The first application window is open through March, with award decisions expected soon. So far, 6 departments have applied. But to qualify, cities and counties must adopt certain state policies, collect use of force data, and approve a 0.1% sales tax, or already have a public safety tax in place to sustain funding after the grants expire in 2028. State officials say the early delays are frustrating, but they say improvements are underway. Washington State Ferries set to receive additional support under newly released transportation spending proposals from the State House and Senate. Both chambers propose increased funding for hybrid electric vessels already under contract, studying options to lease ferries and investing in preservation work to reduce repair times for damaged or aging boats. However, neither proposal includes a plan by the governor to borrow $1 billion to purchase 3 new hybrid electric ferries and not raise taxes. The borrowing plan is part of the governor's broader $2.1 billion transportation package unveiled in December. Legislative leaders say they value the governor's focus on the ferry system, but believe more analysis is needed before committing to long-term borrowing as they talk about budgets in this short legislative session. This is News Radio KONP. This afternoon on the Todd Ortloff Show, we dive into entrepreneurship and consumerism with our business bits and our small business advisor, Kevin Holt.
Join us at 1 o'clock Monday through Thursday for the Todd Ortloff Show on KONP. Information to keep you engaged in your community with the people and organizations who keep it running. Sponsored by Dan Shappy, Farmers Insurance.
It's time for your monthly Market Minute with critical insights from local real estate pro May Graves.
Did you know, according to Redfin, 15% of U.S. home sales fell apart before closing in September 2025? Most people think that once the offer is accepted, the hard part is over. But that's actually when the real work begins. Offers collapse over things like home inspections, miscommunication, and even inexperience. That's why the most important skill in real estate today isn't just marketing, it's seeing challenges before they happen and keeping everything moving forward. When a deal falls through, your home can end up with a black eye it didn't deserve, causing buyers to wonder what's wrong with your home. If you have questions, call me. It's May Graves, 360-461-1922. Real Estate Market Pros, hyper-local, data-driven results.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun this afternoon with a chance for isolated rain showers. High temperatures reach up to 52, westerly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Chance for rain tonight, lows dip down to about 37, partly cloudy skies. Chance for rain tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 48, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Cloudy Saturday, decreasing clouds by Sunday. Mid-40s Saturday, upper 40s by Sunday. Looking further out, 51 Monday, 52 Tuesday, and 50 on Wednesday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, it's 52 degrees.
This round goes to the East. Good morning, I'm Jay Reynolds. The focus of the NBA world was on Detroit last night, the top 2 teams in the NBA. Pistons come away with a 124-116 win over the Thunder, although Oklahoma City was playing without key players, including Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams. Pistons holding the best record in the association.
The one thing about the Pistons, they literally have an identity. It all started with J.B. Bickerstaff coming here, and once you got J.B., K. Cunningham, J.D., all the rest of these guys on board, this team literally just bought into the city's identity, and that's part of the reason why we're sitting here with them having the number 1 record in the NBA today.
Cody Davis from the Detroit News. Spurs win again. They beat the Raptors 110-107. That's now 10 straight wins. San Antonio is just 2 games behind Oklahoma City for the top seed in the West. Denver gets 30 and a dozen rebounds from Nikola Jokic. Nuggets beat the Celtics 103-84. Warriors by 21 over Memphis. Rockets beat the Kings by 31. Sacramento's 8th 30-point loss of the season. College hoops, number 6 UConn blows out 15th-ranked St. John's 72-40. St. John's missing its last 24 shots of the game. They scored just 14 points in the second half. They lose by 32. 9th-ranked Gonzaga by 41 over Portland, the team the Zags lost to 3 weeks ago. Number 7 Florida, 84-71 over Texas. 8th straight win for the Gators. Hockey is back following the Olympic break. Dallas 4-1 over the Kraken. 7th straight win for the Stars. Sabres edge the Devils 2-1. Jets a 3-2 overtime win in Vancouver. Ducks edge the Oilers 6-5, making Joel Quenneville the second coach in history to 1,000 wins. 3-time Cy Young Award winner Max Scherzer, 41 years old, agrees to return to the Blue Jays. It's a reported 1-year deal for $3 million.
In local sports, in NWAC basketball action, it was good news, bad news, and great news for the Peninsula men's basketball team last night. The good news, with 3 minutes left, the Pirates held a 4-point lead against third-ranked Skagit Valley, which came in at 26-3. The bad news, Peninsula had a chance to ice the game in the final seconds, but missed the front end of 3 1-and-1 free throw opportunities, keeping the Cardinals' hopes alive. Skagit Valley then hit a shot with 1.3 seconds remaining to escape with a 59-58 win. But now the great news, Shoreline upset Everett on Everett's home floor. That clinched the 4th and final NWAC tournament berth for the Peninsula Pirates, and Peninsula is headed to Pasco. Freshman guard Sam Tequeste led the Pirates with 15 points and 7 rebounds. Patrick Odingo also scored 15, adding 6 boards and 5 assists. Former Rough Rider Gus Hallberg chipped in 8 points. The Pirates will travel to Columbia Basin College to face the Eastern Conference's top seed, 6th-ranked Treasure Valley. That game is scheduled for Wednesday, March 4th with a 2 p.m. tip-off. On the women's side, the Pirates, now 14-0 in conference and 22-4 overall, won their 53rd consecutive Northern Conference game, defeating second-place Skagit Valley 74-49. After a 15-15 tie at the end of the first quarter, Peninsula broke it open by outscoring the Cardinals 18-9 in the second quarter, taking a 33-24 halftime lead. 6'2" sophomore Alexis Smith delivered another outstanding performance with 18 points and 15 rebounds. Kimberly Brown added 15 points, while point guard Vanessa Jackson, she scored 13. Aspen Frazier finished with 10 points and 6 rebounds, and Rihanna Moss added 8. The Pirate women will open NWAC tournament play Saturday, March 7th at 2 p.m. against Eastern Conference 4th seed Treasure Valley. A win would move Peninsula into the Elite 8 the following day against the winner of the South Puget Sound Umpqua game. Kraken hockey back on the air this afternoon here on KONP as they travel to St. Louis. We'll take the air at 4:30.
Give me a mountain with lots to do. Give me the sunshine, give me a dew. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and a cool, refreshing mountain dew. So give me my good friends, give me a dew.
Grab some friends and an ice-cold Mountain Dew today.
Mountain Dew.
Hi, this is John Holm, president of Tri-State Roofing, your local and family-owned company. If you're interested in a metal roof, prices are going up across the country, but we receive volume discounts through the manufacturer, and we pass that savings on to you. Act now and call 360-208-2222. Financing is available.
Tri-State Roofing, we got you covered.
News Radio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. NVIDIA's shares are slumping today despite the chipmaker reporting a first quarter outlook that easily beat the average analyst estimate while also delivering a 73% surge in fourth quarter revenue. Investors still have questions over whether the current AI spending wave can sustain growth beyond the next few years. FedEx says it will give any tariff refunds issued by the Trump administration to the customers and shippers who paid the duties in the first place. FedEx revealed plans to give back tariff refunds on its website, but notes no tariff refund process has been established by the U.S. government or by the courts. And Samsung unveiled its Galaxy S26 lineup of smartphones with new AI features and real-world privacy rather than major design changes. The new devices range from the extra-large Ultra, priced at $1,300, to the more standard-size base model, which will set you back about $900. They hit stores March 11th. Erica Herskowitz, Bloomberg Radio.
Experience comfort at Angelus Furniture with IMG Comfort Furniture. Receive 10% off all orders and products in all sizes, colors, and models. Now through March 16th, take 10% off beautiful pieces like IMG Peak, Devani, Chelsea and Verona models with all recliners, Power Plus, and swivel gliding. 10% off IMG Comfort Furniture, including quick ship and special order. Through March 16th, only at Angelus Furniture, 1113 East 1st Street.
LS Tractor. Do more for less. More standard features, more capacity, and more operator comfort. LS Tractor gives you more. A comprehensive warranty and more PTO horsepower. Do more on your farm, ranch, or acreage. Mow it, grade it, till it, or move it. Stop by your local participating dealer and join the growing LS Tractor family today.
Find the perfect LS tractor for you at Leitz Farm Supply in Squim. Locally owned and operated. Call Leitz at 360-452-1400.
LS Tractor. Simply more.
It's 12:22. Nearly 25 years after the September 11th attacks, the World Trade Center's final office tower will start construction soon. ABC's Dave Packer reports from New York.
It's the final of 4 office towers in the master plan for rebuilding the World Trade Center site that was developed in the years following the attacks of 9/11. For decades, 2 World Trade Center met a number of false starts, and by 2012 only rose to ground level. Now the announcement that the project is back on track with a new design. The 55-story building will be the new headquarters for American Express. Completion expected in 2031. Dave Packer, ABC News, New York.
From ABC News Tech Trends. Samsung has pulled the wraps off its new Galaxy S26 Ultra.
I mean, the most exciting thing about it is the privacy display.
And Gadget Deputy Editor Chairlyn Lowe says the phone's privacy display is a feature that's designed to make the screen only visible if you're looking at it head on.
The person sat sort of to your right can't just kind of look over out of the corner of their eye and see just how much your bank balance is.
It can be set to only cover certain parts of the screen or automatically activate when you open certain apps.
So in this case, every time you open your banking app, it will have this privacy display set up.
The S26 Ultra sits at the top of the standard Samsung Galaxy range and is priced at $1,300. Whereas the standard S26 starts at $900.
It's keeping the same price as its predecessor, whereas the S26 and S26 Plus cost $100 more than last year's model.
With Tech Trends, I'm Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
ABC Entertainment News.
The second half of Bridgerton Season 4 just arrived on Netflix, and fans of the Bridgerton book series are anticipating one very steamy scene between the characters of Benedict and Sophie. But Luke Thompson, who plays Benedict, says there wasn't any pressure.
Bridgerton is absolutely a show that wants to meet the fans where they are, but is also a show that's trying to surprise people and bring people where they don't expect.
Everyone is going after their dreams.
Is there trouble in Salt Lake City? A new trailer for Hulu's Secret Lives of Mormon Wives Season 4 shows the ladies struggling with the demands of their newfound stardom. The hit reality series returns March 12th on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
Wild and Hops.
Another box office milestone for Zootopia 2. The Disney animated film is now officially the highest-grossing domestic movie release of 2025, taking in over $424 million. Disney is the parent company of ABC News. And Grammy winner Michael Bolton is 73 today. Andrea Dresdale, ABC News.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
We are still in the thick of respiratory virus season here in the United States, and it's been a bit of a doozy. Your best protection is always vaccination, but I will say it's starting to get a little bit late now. You can reduce your chances of getting sick by practicing basic hygiene. Wash your hands often. Soap and water, at least 20 seconds, longer than you thought probably. Consider a high filtration mask if you're spending a lot of time in an enclosed space. And if you're sick, obviously stay home. It's 2026. We have figured out how to work and even socialize to some extent remotely. If you do get sick, consider taking an at-home test or maybe even swinging by your doctor or urgent care to see what you've got. There are some pretty incredible treatments for flu and for COVID, but you need to get on the right medication early for it to be most effective. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-466-9625. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-466-9625.
Hello, I'm Jerry Stewart, and this is One Moment in America. There are a lot of words and sayings we use today that make good sense, but we don't know where they came from. I'll tell you about one of these sayings after this important message. If you've been hearing my radio programs now for the last 20 years, you know that I've been telling the true stories of those who have followed God's ways to make America the greatest nation in the world. So what's the latest? Well, we're now doing this nation-saving work full-time, and we need your help by becoming one of our ambassadors, subscribing to All We Have for just $5.95 per month. To get what? Number one, full access to our amazing website that is full of over 100 true stories to teach us with these stories how America is to act and operate. We also have lessons for all ages to teach us what we must do now, and our children, they will be our nation's leaders very soon. I will have live presentations online for you to hear, maybe even to participate. And when must this all get started? Now. Call our offices today at 817-995-6965 or go to our website at www.jerrystewartusa.com and email our office. God bless you. When we speak about someone today who has a high and important status or position, sometimes we call that person a bigwig. Ever wonder where that came from? Well, in the early days of our colonies, men of importance actually wore special wigs. And many times, the man who wanted to be recognized as an especially important person would wear a bigger than average wig. So today, when we talk about an important person, we may just call him a big wig. Is our problem in America today that we have too many big wigs? Think about it. I'm Jerry Stewart, and that was One Moment in America.
This afternoon on the Todd Ortloff Show, we dive into entrepreneurship and consumerism with our business bits and our small business advisor, Kevin Holt.
Join us at 1 o'clock Monday through Thursday for the Todd Ortloff Show on KONP. Information to keep you engaged in your community with the people and organizations who keep it running. Sponsored by Dan Shappy, Farmers Insurance.
Come out to Olympic Game Farm. It's the home of the waving bears. Come out to Olympic Game Farm for some tender love and care. Now it's not impolite to stick out your tongue, considering the critters you'll be among. Come out to Olympic Game Farm. It's the home of the waving bears. The llama and the yak know you want to come back, and the tiger always gets a few stares. Come out to Olympic Game Farm. It's the home of the waving bears.
When caring for someone you love, it's important for you to take time to rest. At Dungeness Court Memory Care, our overnight respite care offers peace of mind in a safe, family-style setting. From overnight to several weeks, your loved one receives a dedicated caregiving staff, 24-hour on-site nursing, meals, and calming activities, with all-inclusive rates starting at $325 per night. No long-term commitment equipment, just loving care when you need it most. Call Dungeness Court Memory Care at 360-582-9309 today.
At McCrory Carpet One, they know how important it is to feel confident in your flooring selection. You want to know it's going to look exactly the way you want it once it's installed in your home. That's why they offer their one-of-a-kind guarantee, making sure you're 100% happy that the floor you've created together is as beautiful as the one in your dreams. If not, they'll replace it for free. That's what they call the Beautiful Guarantee. Peace of mind is yours with every installation. Always priced right, always done right. McCrory Carpet One.
With breaking news, I'm Bob Agnew at Town Hall in Washington. Former President Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton testifying at a congressional Jeffrey Epstein investigation today. At a pre-deposition news conference, James Comer, the Republican chairman of the House Oversight Committee, says it's all about transparency, not prosecuting anybody.
I think we all agree the government failed. The government failed the victims. And what our role is, we can't prosecute anyone. But what we have been doing is getting transparency to the American people.
Democrat Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has laid out his anti-fraud legislative package. It comes a day after the White House paused $259 million in federal Medicaid payments to the state until a comprehensive action plan is laid out to fight fraud. At a news conference today, Minnesota Governor Walz said that they are cracking down on Medicaid and Medicare fraud, but the Trump administration has the wrong approach.
The White House solution to this is to take health care from poor people. Our solution to it is catch these people before they do it, and if we don't, to lock them away for a long time.
Minnesota is accused of some fraud leading up to about $18 billion worth of costs for the American taxpayer. This package focuses on three main components, according to Walz's office: better detection, strengthened investigative and enforcement authority, and increased criminal penalties as well. Mortgage rates have dropped now below 6%.
Mortgage buyer Freddie Mac says the average rate dropped this week to 5.98%. That's its lowest level since September 2022. The average rate has been hovering around 6% this year, reflecting a pullback in the long-term bond yields that lenders use as a guide to pricing home loans. The latest decline in rates comes as the spring home buying season gets rolling. I'm Alex Vega.
It's a mixed bag on Wall Street. The Dow was trailing the others, but now it's back into positive territory, up by 40 points, but the NASDAQ still down close to 300 at this hour. More from townhall.com.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. A lot of us are thinking about taxes, home projects we've been putting off, ways to get ahead financially in 2026. Now's the perfect time to talk to my friends at Fellowship Home Loans. If you want to lower your mortgage payment, they can help you refinance. If you need access to cash for home improvements or to wipe out high-interest debt, their fixed-rate line of credit is one of the best tools out there. Fast approval, predictable rate, and flexibility to use your home's equity wisely. Remember, many people still qualify to skip their next 2 mortgage payments. Imagine starting big projects or paying down debt with 2 months of breathing room. My family and I have used Fellowship personally. I trust these guys. Take control of 2026. Go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE. That's 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
Bangladesh wants international police to detain a British lawmaker.
Tulip Siddiq faces charges of corruption in the country for using her connection with her aunt, former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, to influence the process of illegally awarding land to a private company. Siddiq has already been sentenced to 6 years in jail in Bangladesh in 3 other corruption cases, all involving Hasina. In January last year, Siddiq resigned as a British government minister in the cabinet of Prime Minister Keir Starmer because of her ties to the former Bangladesh Prime Minister. I'm Charles Delatesma.
The National Weather Service says that Old Man Winter is not done with the Northeast just yet after dumping 1 to 3 inches of snow yesterday. A little more snow is in the forecast over the weekend and into next week. Along with cold temperatures, they say, it could drop into very freezing weather, and that could keep a lot of that snow on the ground. You'll find breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Bob Agnew. The U.S. says it will investigate a deadly shooting off the coast of Cuba.
Cuba says the people on the boat fired at soldiers first, injuring a Cuban officer. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
It is highly unusual to see shootouts
an open sea like that. It's not something that happens every day. It's something, frankly, that hasn't happened with Cuba in a very long time. But we're going to find out. We're not going to base our conclusions on what they've told us.
The Cuban government says the people on the speedboat were Cubans living in the U.S. and that at least 2 of them are wanted by Cuban authorities, quote, in connection with acts of terrorism, end quote. I'm Donna Warder.
A new study commissioned by the SEC and the Big Ten has concluded that a proposal to allow the pooling of media rights among Division I conferences would actually generate less revenue than if the conferences continue marketing their own games. More on these stories can be found at townhall.com.
This is the News Radio KONP Noon Report.
Soundwords live from the KONP News Center. Here's a look at what's happening on this Thursday, February 26th. Port Angeles Police conducting an evidence search this week in the area of 700 North Ennis Street. That's near where the road dead ends at the Olympic Discovery Trail, across from the old Rainier Mill site. In a social media post yesterday, the department had asked the public to avoid the area as officers worked with search and rescue crews. Later, Detective Sergeant Corey Malone confirmed that activity was connected to the disappearance of 27-year-old Marley Zimmerman. Zimmerman has been missing since January last year, according to her sister Zoe. Marley left her home about 2 a.m. as captured by security cameras. She was wearing all black clothing, carrying a light green or tan backpack. Police say the case remains active, and they would not say whether this search represents new evidence or a break in the investigation. Meantime, Zimmerman's family is offering a $5,000 reward for information leading to her whereabouts, and anyone with information being asked to contact Port Angeles Police or the statewide Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women's and Peoples Task Force. Clallam County Commissioners considering a multi-year contract now for street-level imaging tech that the assessor's office has been using on a trial basis. The county's been piloting the service from Cyclomedia Technology, which captures high-resolution 360-degree images from public roadways to help appraise property conditions in the county. The proposed agreement would cover more than 400 miles of roadway and include LiDAR data. The 2026 cost would be just over $71,000. That's funding that's already built into the assessor's budget. Chief Appraiser Dan Childress says the system does allow staff to conduct more desktop reviews instead of driving long distances for site visits. He says that saves time and county resources.
I think Google Street View, except a much more high res, so it allows us to basically assess condition and different characteristics much more accurately. One of the benefits of that is that it, particularly with as broad, as far out as a lot of the areas are in our county, it saves considerable amount of time if we have to send someone out. That's quite a bit of county resources to send someone out. If we can streamline that.
While commissioners say the pilot appears to have improved efficiency, they raised several concerns in a work session this week before moving into a longer-term contract, though. One question, whether the county must put the contract out to competitive bid now that the trial phase is over, or whether Cyclomedia qualifies as a sole source provider. Commissioners also pressed for clarity on privacy protections, including how long images are stored, who has access to them, and whether license plates or faces are visible. Childress says the imagery includes automatic blurring for public-facing use and that the data is not sold or shared outside of county operations.
Cyclomedia actually keeps that data, although we have a rights to that data. So from what I understand is we can apply as many licenses as we want to utilize that. So we can actually share down departments, so I don't think we can sell upwards. Right now, the only people using that is the assessor's office, or if there's another department that may want to use that in the courthouse.
Staff will review procurement requirements and plan to return with clarification before commissioners take formal action on the extended contract. Recreation access in Clallam County could be reduced under ongoing and proposed funding cuts at the Washington Department of Natural Resources. DNR materials out this week list Bear Creek Campground and the Lyre River Campground, both in Clallam County, as facing full closure if recreation maintenance funding is not restored. The agency says recreation maintenance and operations funding was cut by more than $7 million the last legislative session, about 20% of the budget, and more cuts are proposed in the coming state budget. Well, Olympic National Park ranks among the most photographed national parks in the country, according to a new data analysis that was out this week. The study by POPSA places Olympic National Park 15th nationwide in snapshots. Researchers analyzed photo location data from millions of users to determine where visitors were actually taking the most pictures. Now, the Grand Canyon ranked first overall among national parks, followed by Yellowstone and Yosemite. Olympic accounts for just over 2% of all national park photos in this past year, making it one of two Washington parks in the top 25, Mount Rainier the other one. Researchers note the ranking reflects photography patterns and not overall visitation totals. More news after this.
At Olympic Peninsula Title, we wear a lot of different hats. We are investigators, analysts, and the protectors of property rights. We seek a high standard of accuracy. Our commitment to exceptional service strengthens our mission. We reduce risk. We stay on top of current issues affecting property rights. We sweat the small stuff to give our customers the peace of mind they deserve. When it's time to choose a title company to close your transaction, opt for Olympic Peninsula Title.
The 41st Annual KONP Home Show is coming March 14th and 15th to the Port Angeles High School Gymnasiums, and a few vendor booths are still available. If you sell it, build it, fix it, paint it, wire it, landscape it, design it, or dream it, you need to be there. Put your business front and center while customers get ready to plan their next project. Space is limited. Reserve your KONP Home Show booth today by calling 360-457-1450.
Are you thinking about a new roof, siding, or windows for your home? Give Tri-State a call. Tri-State installs GAF roofing products, James Hardy siding, and Pella replacement windows. And right now, Tri-State is offering huge savings. The first step is a free estimate. Call 360-208-2222 or visit tristate.pro.
Tri-State Roofing, we got you covered.
In other news, a proposal to lower Washington's legal blood alcohol limit for drivers has stalled in Olympia. Senate Bill 5067 would have lowered the limit from 0.08 to 0.05%. The bill passed the Senate for the first time this year, but it had failed to advance out of a House committee. Supporters argue the change would reduce deadly crashes as traffic fatalities continue to climb. More than 800 people died in Washington in 2023, including 240 in crashes that year involving impaired drivers. Opponents question whether the lower limit would change behavior and raise concerns about impacts on restaurants and bars. Lawmakers say the debate is likely to continue next session. Washington's new $100 million grant program to hire more police officers has yet to distribute any money, and that's drawing frustration from local leaders. The program, backed by the governor, is aimed at improving staffing levels after Washington ranked last in the nation per capita yet again. The first application window is open through March, with award decisions expected soon. So far, 6 departments have applied. But to qualify, cities and counties must adopt certain state policies, collect use of force data, and approve a 0.1% sales tax, or already have a public safety tax in place to sustain funding after the grants expire in 2028. State officials say the early delays are frustrating, but they say improvements are underway. Washington State Ferries set to receive additional support under newly released transportation spending proposals from the State House and Senate. Both chambers propose increased funding for hybrid electric vessels already under contract, studying options to lease ferries, and investing in preservation work to reduce repair times for damaged or aging boats. However, neither proposal includes a plan by the governor to borrow $1 billion to purchase 3 new hybrid electric ferries and not raise taxes. The borrowing plan is part of the governor's broader $2.1 billion transportation package unveiled in December. Legislative leaders say they value the governor's focus on the ferry system, but believe more analysis is needed before committing to long-term borrowing as they talk about budgets in this short legislative session. This is News Radio KONP.
End-of-life decisions are hard. Be it pre-planning or sudden loss, you need to have an advocate in your corner, which is why I wholeheartedly recommend Drennan & Ford Funeral Home and Crematory in Port Angeles, the only locally owned funeral home and crematory in Clallam County. Their expertise ensures a smooth process so you can focus on healing and being with your loved ones. Their help through the darkest time in my life will forever stay with me. Call 360-457-1210.
Hey there, Dawn Riling with Olympic Hot Tub.
Don't you hate FOMO, the fear of missing out? Well then, you don't want to miss out on the big savings waiting at our floor model finale. Save thousands on 2025 floor model saltwater hot tubs featuring new smart monitoring. Your tub tests your water for you. Exciting deals in all 8 Puget Sound showrooms. But hurry, they end February 28th. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Olympic Hot Tub.
Where can you go anymore for home cooking? For all the best eggs, bacon, biscuits and gravy, and home fries? For your favorite juicy burger, French dip, or clubhouse? Where they know you by name and you feel like you're sitting down at your own kitchen table? At Shirley's Cafe in Port Angeles, that's where. Shirley's is open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. until 2 p.m. Our fast and friendly staff will make you feel right at home, and our food will keep you coming back. Shirley's Cafe on 6th and Lincoln.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun this afternoon, with a chance for isolated rain showers. High temperatures reach up to 52, westerly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Chance for rain tonight, lows dip down to about 37, partly cloudy skies. Chance for rain tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 48, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Cloudy Saturday, decreasing clouds by Sunday. Mid-40s Saturday, upper 40s by Sunday. Looking further out, 51 Monday, 52 Tuesday, and 50 on Wednesday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, it's 52 degrees.
Check on Sports with Robert Workman is next.
In what could be a preview of the NBA Finals this spring, the Pistons outlasted the Thunder last night, 124-116. OKC had a 12-point lead early, but Detroit roared back. Jalen Duren had 29 points and 15 rebounds. Cade Cunningham, 29 points and 13 assists. Spurs might have something to say about that title chase. They edged the Raptors 110-107 for their 10th consecutive victory. San Antonio coach Mitch Johnson.
We didn't let the ball move a few times tonight, and they made us pay. But I did think we settled in when we really had to, especially start that fourth quarter there and started to play our brand of basketball.
Nuggets blew open a close game with a 15-0 run in the second half and beat the Celtics 103-84. Nikola Jokic finished with 30 points. Rockets crushed the Kings, Warriors whacked the Grizzlies, and the Bucks got by the Cavaliers. NHL back from the Olympic break. The league-leading Avalanche doubled up the Mammoth 4-2. U.S. Olympian Brock Nelson got his 30th goal of the season. The Beast of the East, the Lightning, struck the Maple Leafs 4-2 for their 6th straight win. Nikita Kucherov reached the 30-goal mark for the 9th time in his career. Stars won their 7th in a row, 4-1 over the Kraken. Wyatt Johnson netted his 30th and 31st goals of the year. And the Sabres got a goal from their gold medalist, Tage Thompson, his 31st. They nipped the Devils 2-1. Golden Knights scored 5 times in the third to top the Kings 6-4. The Ducks lit the lamp 4 times in the final stanza to slip past the Oilers 6-5, giving Joel Quenneville his 1,000th coaching win. Only Scott Bowman has more. Capitals clipped the Flyers, and the Jets edged the Canucks in overtime. College hoops, top 10 wins for number 6 Connecticut, 7th-ranked Florida, and number 9 Gonzaga. That's Thursday Sports.
If it's time for new asphalt paving for your dirt, gravel, or damaged driveway, now's the time to call Lakeside Industries for a free estimate. They've been serving this community since 1982 with city, county, and highway projects, of course. But did you know that they do residential and commercial grading, paving, and stormwater too? Well, they're scheduling spring and summer jobs right now, and no job is too small. Just call Lakeside Industries 452-7803 or lakesideindustries.com.
This afternoon on the Todd Ortloff Show, we dive into entrepreneurship and consumerism with our business bits and our small business advisor, Kevin Holt.
Join us at 1 o'clock Monday through Thursday for the Todd Ortloff Show on KONP. Information to keep you engaged in your community with the people and organizations who keep it running. Sponsored by Dan Shappy, Farmers Insurance.
Meet Tommy the Tomato.
Hi, I'm Tommy.
He's just a little sprout, but he's got big dreams.
I'm growing up in a cozy greenhouse from Jungle Jane's.
Tommy's home is warm, sunny, and perfectly humid because Jungle Jane's knows greenhouses.
And I'm being raised on hydroponics. No dirt, no drama, just happy roots.
Start your growing story at Jungle Jane's with hydroponic systems, greenhouses, and everything your garden needs. Jungle Jane's on the roundabout by Costco in Squim.
News Radio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Apple is said to be in talks with some key Indian banks and global card networks MasterCard and Visa as it prepares to bring Apple Pay to the world's most populous country by the middle of this year. The planned launch marks another step in Apple's push to branch out in the country of 1.4 billion people with a rapidly expanding middle class. Papa John said today it'll be shutting down 300 underperforming restaurants in North America by the end of 2027. Dunkin' is taking supersize to another level. The chain is quietly testing a massive 48-ounce cold beverage bucket. It's a handled cup nearly triple the size of a standard iced coffee. Dunkin' perhaps piggybacking on months of viral TikTok videos showing people drinking coffee from Lowe's mini buckets. And for the first time in a decade, Burger King is giving the Whopper a makeover. Customers complained about the burgers being smashed and falling apart, so Burger King is replacing the Whopper's soft bun using a new mayo and serving it in a box instead of paper. Erica Herskowitz, Bloomberg Radio.
I'm Dr. Sam Skovgard, a general surgeon at Olympic Medical Center. For minor surgeries like hernias or gallbladder removal, smaller incisions with laparoscopic surgery can mean less pain and much faster recovery. Join me for a presentation on March 19th at 5:30 p.m. at Olympic Memorial Hospital. We'll discuss the advantages of laparoscopic surgery right here at OMC. Reserve your seat today at olympicmedical.org/RSVP.
Sensitive to dust, mold, or allergens? You can breathe easier at McCrory Carpet One thanks to their Healthier Living installation system that features cleaner installation practices. Their HEPA vacuum system removes the old dust, and a Heathinex antimicrobial treatment is used before they install your new floor. If it's new carpeting in your home, they include their hypoallergenic premium cushion that inhibits the growth of mold and mildew. Best of all, there's no extra charge for this healthier install, only at McCrory Carpet One.
News Radio KONP, traffic and roads.
And let's give one last check at the traffic here this noon hour. We head up to Clallam Transit Dispatch Center, and that's where Steve's standing by. With that, good afternoon, Steve.
Buddy. Yeah, we are doing pretty good out there. It's definitely a busy day for traffic. If you are out and about in either the Port Angeles or Sequim area, you're going to find a large number of automobiles making their way around town. Downtown Port Angeles is a little bit slow going all the way through the downtown area just because of a volume of cars and traffic signals. So just be aware, a little bit of slow going there. Sequim along Washington Street and Sequim Avenue, especially at the stoplight there, a little bit of a line of cars as well. So be aware of that. If you're on the highway between the two cities, it is busy, but traffic is moving along pretty smoothly. Construction area, they're kind of gathering up through that area, the slowdown area. Beyond that, though, everybody's kind of spreads out and things moving along much better. If you're headed beyond Sequim, Hood Canal Bridge has another scheduled marine opening coming up here shortly, about 1:30. So just be aware of that if you're headed in that direction. That is causing quite a lineup out there on 104. If you're headed out to the Forks area, things looking pretty good out that direction. Still relatively light traffic. Roads are in good shape and things are moving along pretty smoothly. So everybody take care. Enjoy your afternoon. This is Steve reporting live from Clallam Transit for KONP.
All right, thank you, Steve. We'll get another update during the drive home. Pepper will have that about 4:20 this afternoon. Your weather today actually has been calling for some clouds and some rain, but we're not seeing that. Highs near 50. Cloudy and rainy overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. Lows in the mid to upper 30s and partly sunny tomorrow with a chance of rain in the morning. And highs Friday should be near 50. Right now across the peninsula in Port Townsend, 50 degrees. Out west at Forks, 47 now. It's 52 in Sequim, also 52 out at Fairchild Airport here in Port Angeles. Well, makeup for 6-year-olds, according to the Wall Street Journal, cosmetic companies are increasingly marketing their products to young children. But some medical experts and parents say early exposure to skincare regimens could foster a premature obsession with physical appearance. ABC News parenting expert Bethany Braun Silva, more on that.
These kids are growing up watching Get Ready With Me videos, skincare routines, and Sephora hauls on YouTube and TikTok. And of course, they see their mothers, older siblings, influencers, and mimicry is developmentally normal at this age.
I tried an experiment. I asked 4 major AI chatbots if and when the United States would strike Iran.
I'm Kim Commando for LinkedIn. For small businesses, every hire matters. Get $100 off your first job post with LinkedIn Hiring Pro at linkedin.com/Kim. Okay, I use Google's Gemini, Anthropic's Claude, Elon Musk's Grok, and OpenAI's ChatGPT. To get real answers, you must coach each one before it will get to specifics. All agree that a war between the U.S. is imminent. But Claude first refused to cooperate, saying the president won't say, so no one knows. Later, it narrowed its opinion to March 8th, Saturday night, Sunday morning before sunrise. Gemini predicted the nights of March 4th or March 6th. Grok says the night of February 28th. That's this Saturday. Chat says the night of March 2nd, all using Jerusalem time for predictions. Now we wait. I've started a brand new free newsletter. It's all about AI. You can sign up right now at commando.com/AI. For small businesses, every single hire matters. But finding the right person can take time and energy you just don't have. That's where LinkedIn Hiring Pro comes in. It's like having a smart hiring partner that helps you focus on the candidates who are a great fit, so you can hire with confidence. I know firsthand how time-consuming hiring can be. You're running a business, wearing a dozen hats, and you're sorting through countless applications, trying to spot that right person. Posting a job is easy. It's the finding, connecting, and screening applicants that you don't have time for. LinkedIn Hiring Pro handles it all for you, writing the job description, finding top candidates, even conducting AI-powered first interviews. Forget digging through countless resumes. Hire right the first time. Post your first job and get $100 off your job post at linkedin.com/Kim. That's linkedin.com/Kim. Terms and conditions apply. This is a total game changer. Don't miss out. Post your first job and get $100 off right now at linkedin.com/Kim.
For almost 100 years, St. Joseph's Indian School has nurtured Native American children in mind, body, heart, and spirit, turning the spark in every child into a lifelong flame and a brighter future. Light a spark today at stjo.org.
I'm John Tesh, and coming up, why do you get cranky for no reason? I'm going to share a list of possible reasons, including why staying home all day can put you in a seriously foul mood. Next, in today's Intelligence for Your Life Minute.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
All right, if you're in a cranky mood, I want you to consider some of these lifestyle habits that have been scientifically linked to making us more irritable. First, you haven't left the house all day. One of the easiest ways to get a mood boost is to spend a few minutes in the sun, because sunlight triggers the release of serotonin, a brain chemical that helps you feel calmer and more focused. So by not leaving the house, you're depriving your body of mood-boosting serotonin. Another possible reason you're irritable, you watch TV dramas at night. It's hard to fall asleep when you're watching something emotionally taxing, and sleep deprivation leads to irritability. And then beware of checking your phone the second you get a notification. That can lead to feeling overwhelmed, which then leads to irritability. So try putting your phone on Do Not Disturb mode. I'm John Tesh with today's Intelligence for Your Life Minute.
Come see Price Ford when shopping for your next vehicle. We have the new Ford Maverick and Ranger, along with the highly capable compact crossover Ford Bronco Sport. Looking for pre-owned? We have the largest selection in the area. Let us help you find the perfect vehicle for your lifestyle and budget. Visit Price Ford next to Walmart in Port Angeles or priceford.com and become part of the Price family.
Hi, it's Alicia with Ridgeline Home Care Cooperative, where we're more than a workplace, we're a family. We're worker-owned, worker-ran, and worker-profited, and proud to be named Emerging Business of the Year by our community. If you're a caregiver looking for a place where you're valued, or a family seeking care you can trust, you belong with us. Join our team or let us care for your loved one. Call 360-504-3837 today. Ridgeline Home Care Cooperative, compassionate care powered by the community.
The North Peninsula's news, the North Peninsula's talk. News Radio KONP, Port Angeles Squim, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. A Columbia University student from Azerbaijan who was taken into custody earlier today in New York City by DHS from her dorm room was released this past hour. New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani says President Trump ordered the student's release, and it follows a separate meeting at the White House already scheduled between New York City's mayor and the president. Mamdani says he called the president after the meeting ended to talk about the detained student and get the release. The behind-closed-door deposition of Hillary Clinton taking place in the House Oversight Committee's investigation of Jeffrey Epstein. It was briefly paused earlier after a photo was leaked, which was against committee rules. Former President Bill Clinton will be deposed tomorrow. Both say they did not have any knowledge of Epstein's crimes.
As he kicked off 2 days of depositions, Republican Committee Chair James Comer made it clear.
We're not accusing Hillary Clinton of wrongdoing.
In a fiery opening statement, which she publicly released, the former Secretary of State said she'd never met Jeffrey Epstein, and she insisted she has no information to offer on his or Ghislaine Maxwell's crimes. Top Oversight Committee Democrat Robert Garcia says he wants a nonpartisan investigation.
And that's going to include ensuring that President Trump comes before our committee.
Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Ranking member Robert Garcia outside the deposition venue again says the Justice Department appears to have withheld dozens of pages in the Epstein files involving an Epstein survivor who made allegations of sexual assault against Donald Trump when she was a minor decades ago.
We should depose the person that is mentioned in the Epstein files almost more than any other person next to Ghislaine Maxwell, and that's Donald Trump.
The DOJ says it's, quote, reviewing whether those pages were erroneously withheld. In Chicago today, the Reverend Jesse Jackson is lying in repose at the Rainbow Push Coalition headquarters. The public paying their respects along with family and friends to the civil rights leader ahead of his funeral next week. Jesse Jackson was 84. You're listening to ABC News.
You've probably heard all those ads for life insurance. Just a few dollars a day, apply online in minutes, no medical exam. Simple, easy, and cheap, right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health. That's why everyone calls Big Lou the 50 to 60-year-old not-so-perfect candidate. Like you. You take prescription meds, and you're overweight. Winner, fried chicken dinner. Well, Big Lou works with life insurance companies that want people like you, with no surprises after you apply. In fact, if you're a 50-year-old guy with a few health glitches, Lou could probably find you $1 million of term life coverage for about $200 a month. So, yeah, you need life insurance. But unless you're young and healthy, you gotta call Big Lou, because he's like you, older, heavier, and on meds, too. Get a quote right now at 800-230-2777, 800-230-2777, or biglou.com.
A year after a measles outbreak in West Texas that sickened more than 700 people and left at least 2 dead, health officials now say a new case has been diagnosed. ABC's Jim Ryan is in Dallas.
The health department in Lubbock, the epicenter of the 2025 outbreak, has confirmed a case of measles in an unvaccinated person who's thought to have contracted the virus while traveling. Now officials are working backward to find anyone that patient may have come into contact with before seeking treatment.
Nationwide, nearly 1,000 infections have been confirmed since the beginning of this year. A mama bear and her newborn cubs have a safe place to stay until spring. The only thing is, it's underneath a house in California.
That is the sound of baby bears Echo, Oakley, and Storm, named by the Bear League, a California conservation group. The babies were born to a black bear who slipped into the crawl space of a cabin in Lake Tahoe sometime in January. The owner could have had her removed then, but once she gave birth, it became illegal to force the bears to leave because the babies could have died in the elements. The Bear League is trying to remind people to secure their homes, especially their crawl spaces, to prevent them from becoming dens for wayward bears. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
State Farm Mutual Automobile Insurance announcing that it will pay $5 billion cash back to auto consumers through a dividend, in addition to recent auto insurance rate reductions in many states, already saving customers an estimated $4.6 billion annually. Michelle Franz.
As each season changes, one thing stays the same. Airport Garden Center is always here to help your yard and garden grow. Airport Garden Center opened for business in 1977 as a pet, plant, and feed store by Eldora and Floyd Matthews. The family-run operation continues with Mark and Betsy Matthews passionately managing the business to this day. Their family provides your family quality service, products, and expert advice for a fun, rewarding, pet and child-friendly shopping atmosphere. We love helping you plan next season by offering monthly special savings too. Go to airportgarden.biz for current specials and seasonal classes and events, or just stop on by our spacious indoor-outdoor garden center on Edgewood Drive in Port Angeles to chat with the experts. Airport Garden Center, planting knowledge, growing gardeners since 1977.
KONP News brought to you by RE/MAX Evergreen Real Estate. Outstanding agents, outstanding results. 457-6600. Port Angeles Police conducting an evidence search this week near 700 North Ennis Street, close to where the road meets the Olympic Discovery Trail across from the old Rainier Mill site. Investigators say that search is connected to the disappearance of 27-year-old Marley Zimmerman, who's been missing since January of 2025. According to her family, Zimmerman left her home about 2 a.m. wearing all black and carrying a light green or tan backpack. Police say the case is still active. They would not confirm to us whether the search represents any new evidence, though. Meantime, Zimmerman's family offering a $5,000 reward for any information.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by Olympic Game Farm. Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun this afternoon, with a chance for isolated rain showers. High temperatures reach up to 52, winds out of the west, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, chance of rain, lows level off around 37. Chance for rain tomorrow, daytime highs approaching 48, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Overcast skies Saturday, decreasing clouds by Sunday. Mid-40s Saturday, upper 40s by Sunday. Looking at the long range, 51 Monday, 52 Tuesday, and 50 on Wednesday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, 54.
It's the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP. Now, here's Todd.
All right, it's going to be all about the TikTok challenges and other things related today. We're moving Kevin up to the first part of the show on this Thursday. He's slot 1 today in the A gap, as I call it, for our Business Bit segment. And Kevin, if you don't know, is our business guru, and he comes in once a week to talk about things affecting us in business or even visiting a business, I guess, in some ways. And today, the fastest and cheapest way to get what you want, also a TikTok challenge.
That's what we want you to do. Right. You know, some people feel we are living in very confusing times, and I've experienced it myself, and we've shared it here on the air. For example, there are people who are struggling to find a job, and yet our businesses here are struggling to find workers. Entrepreneurs struggle to find startup funding, but I get emails from people looking to invest in startups. You've probably heard that you can't get anything done around here unless you know the right people. Well, did you ever wish you knew the right people? Did you ever wish you didn't feel stuck? Did you ever wish things could be easier? Well, if you've ever felt that way, you're probably not alone. Today, we're going to talk about how to break out of stuck and change your luck. Now, I wouldn't be true to my business coaching roots if I didn't start with you. Too many people overlook this first step. The best way to be sure to get what you want is to be clear about what you want in the first place. It's harder to maintain an effort towards something when you're not sure what that something really is. So you're the first person to benefit from having a clear idea of what you want. That clear idea will keep you moving forward, and when you have a clear idea of what you want, it's easier to tell other people what you want. Even more important, you can get help, and we'll talk about that more in a moment. But here's an example on clarity. Some of my business clients would tell me their goal was to start a business. Now, these clients would tell me they had tried to work with other organizations, but they just had no luck. Now, this told me they really weren't clear on what they wanted in the first place, because starting a business is an activity, not a goal. Sweeping the floor is an activity. Having a clean house is a goal. And I'm happy to help a client start a business, but only when it's an activity on the way to a goal. A client who has a clear idea of what they want will talk about accomplishing something or providing something. For example, a client with a goal might say, none of my mother's elderly friends can find help with house cleaning. How can I start a business that can solve that problem? So being clear about what you want goes both ways. Most of us can remember a time when someone asked us for something we thought we didn't have or couldn't get. And that someone might have asked again in a different way, and you realized you were exactly the right person to ask. It wasn't your fault. The request was simply unclear. So now you have a clear idea about what you want. You can tell others about what you want. And now you're ready to take the next step. I'm going to tell you the easiest way to get started. Dave Ramsey, coming up next, calls it baby steps, and that's good enough for me. Let's talk about starting where you are, using what you have, and doing what you can. Let's baby step our way to finding opportunities, getting answers, avoiding mistakes, and moving faster. One of our biggest challenges is the part of human nature that causes us to overlook the obvious. All of us have people in our lives that we already trust. We know people who have helped us before. Someone has already pointed us in the right direction. And when we come back, we'll talk about baby step number 1.
Stand by. Business Bits continues.
Step into Spoon Bar Suites in downtown Sequim, where everything feels just a little more magical. Their hand-scooped milkshakes are pure happiness in a cup, but the bakery case? Oh, that's where the love lives. Cookies that melt in your mouth, golden pastries, and cupcakes topped with clouds of frosting, all baked in-house with a whole lot of heart. Sit and relax inside with a cup of Rain Shadow coffee. Spoon Bar Sweets, bringing a little extra sugar to your day, every day.
Hello, this is Katie McCormick with Sequim Valley and Harper Ridgeview Funeral Chapels. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about a new, exciting, and environmentally friendly development in the funeral industry. It's called Natural Organic Reduction, or terramation. Perhaps you've heard of it. Terramation is a process in which the body, after death, is returned to the earth in a carbon-neutral, eco-friendly manner. The process takes place in a controlled environment, and all that remains is a natural, odorless, compost-like material. If you would like more information about terramation and advanced planning, call us today at Harper Ridgeview in Port Angeles or Sequim Valley Chapel in Sequim, and one of our knowledgeable and caring funeral professionals will assist you in answering your questions. Harper Ridgeview and Sequim Valley Funeral Chapels, because your loved ones deserve the best.
When caring for someone you love, it's important for you to take time to rest. At Dungeness Court Memory Care, our overnight respite care offers peace of mind in a safe, family-style setting. From overnight to several weeks, your loved one receives a dedicated caregiving staff, 24-hour on-site nursing, meals, and calming activities, with all-inclusive rates starting at $325 per night. No long-term commitment, just loving care when you need it most. Call Dungeness Court Memory Care at 360-582-9309 today.
The 41st annual KONP Home Show is coming March 14th and 15th to the Port Angeles High School gymnasiums, and a few vendor booths are still available. If you sell it, build it, fix it, paint it, wire it, landscape it, design it, or dream it, you need to be there. Put your business front and center while customers get ready to plan their next project. Space is limited. Reserve your KONP Home Show booth today by calling 360-457-1450.
Answer Business Bits. That's what we do on Thursdays, and our business guru, Kevin Holt, is joining us. He's going to take us through his baby steps of, well, getting what you want.
The fastest and cheapest way.
All right.
That's right.
We left right at the beginning of these steps, so let's get to it.
We did. We're going to baby step our way towards getting things easier, taking advantage of what's all around us. So baby step number 1 is to reach out to people you already know. Because, again, we have that human nature thing that causes us to overlook the obvious. We only notice the startling, the crazy, the unusual, the great stuff that's going on we don't see. So reach out to people you already know. Tell them what you hope to get. Ask for recommendations. Request introductions. Most of us know somebody like that, and there's no reason we all can't be like that. You know, people get what they want faster when they ask people in their lives for help. This is easy. That's why it's a baby step, because you're working with people you already know, skills you already have, conversations you're already having, trust you've already built, and goodwill you've already earned.
But, what do you tell your advice for folks who are a little reluctant to do that because they feel like, well, they don't want to hear me making a business pitch around the Thanksgiving table, for example?
Sure. Well, I don't think anybody asked you to make a business complaint. I think it's more a matter of putting in words your hopes and aspirations, not your complaints. And so it's more along the lines of, I sure wish I could find a better way to.
Right.
Or I've been having no luck when I try to. Or
you don't have to ask your relative to hire you at that point.
No,
right?
no. Has anybody seen a better way to do this? And again, and we'll talk about this towards the end, but we've got this sense of rugged individualism and Yankee ingenuity. We can do it all ourselves. And I've heard people from other countries be very confused because they'll say, you know, where I grew up, when you make a lot of money, you hire a servant. Mm-hmm. When you guys make a lot of money, you buy a car. And so you're not making your life any easier. Right. We don't understand how you people manage your time.
All right. But again, this all goes back. You got to know what you're asking
you
for.
You do. And you have to have that in a way you can express clearly. And it has to be aspirational. Okay. I want to have this happen. Well, so we've talked about goodwill you've already earned, and baby step number 2 comes from our service clubs. If you want to get some help, how about give some help? This is another case of overlooking the obvious. You are already a resource for others. There are already people you've helped get what they want. Ask if you can do more. Reconnecting with people you already know will open doors. You know, if you talk about sitting at the dinner table and maybe having something negative to say, maybe start it by saying, hey, how can I help you? Mm-hmm. Because most people will warm up to that. Now, baby step number 3 helps you stay clear and focused as you pursue what you want. Make a note of it. Write it down. When we put our ideas down in writing, we reinforce our thinking. And it doesn't have to be pencil and paper. Maybe you type it into your phone. Maybe you put it on your tablet. But put it in writing because that is a cognitive enforcement strategy. You know, it's like going to the grocery store. If we've written down what we want, we have a much better chance of bringing it home.
And I remember what I want. Yes. I don't wander around going, what was that again?
That's right. You'll remember what you want. It's when you're getting out of the car on the way home from the grocery store and you look in the bag, oh, butter. That's the whole reason I went.
Yep.
And now all I've got is a bunch of Oreos and, you know, the things I go to pick up at the store if I'm unsupervised. Baby step number 4 takes things one step further. You've written down what you want for yourself. Now write something down for someone else. Follow up. That's right.
That's interesting. Okay.
When someone helps you or even just acknowledges you, acknowledge them back in writing. A simple thank you or a quick how's it going in a text, email, or note. This reminds both of you that staying in touch matters. And that's something that people who are more tuned into this are very good at. Mm-hmm. And you'll especially see that with high-level executives. You might have a conversation with a CFO or a CEO in a lunchroom, and you'll get an email saying, "Hey, you know, I really appreciate you bringing that up. It's caused me to see that in a different way." So again, staying in touch matters. Now the easy part, baby step number 5. It usually happens on its own. It's the natural next step when you're talking to people you already know, when you're talking about how to get what you want, and when you are writing down ideas for yourself and others. Your natural human curiosity will flourish. You'll ask more questions. You'll reach out to more people. You'll start gaining momentum towards your goals, and you'll start noticing things you didn't see before. And this is why that works so well. You're working with people now. People know shortcuts. People know who's hiring. People know what's real and what's a waste of time. People know where the money is. And people know what mistakes to avoid. And to answer Todd's question earlier, most importantly, people enjoy helping people who are genuinely curious and respectful and participatory. You don't need to be charming. You don't need to be outgoing. And you don't need to sell yourself. You just need to ask a few honest questions and listen. Now, Todd's been busting out of his seat over here. And all of our savvy listeners are saying, wait a minute. He's talking about networking again.
Yeah, that's just a bunch of networking going on here, right?
Guilty as charged. But you know, in communities like ours, our best resource is each other. Like I said, that double-edged sword of rugged individualism, something we're very proud of out here, that sometimes cuts us off from one another. We don't think about reaching out to each other. We don't think about the value we have for one another, and we don't think about the value of interaction. And we took a little different approach today because we wanted to cut through the misconceptions about interpersonal networking. I knew that if I started this off by saying, hey, let's talk about networking today, you could hear the radios click off all over the county because people believe that networking is hard, that it's risky, that it requires speaking to strangers, that it requires going to places you've never been before. But it doesn't require any of those things. We want to demystify and de-risk networking, and we want to help the listeners take advantage of our greatest resource.
I think it's a little of this is the old adage that success is 95% of showing up.
It is
right?
100%,
Yeah.
95% showing up. As Sparky Anderson used to say, 95% of this game is half mental.
Mm-hmm.
And showing up gives you access to each of us, and all of us together do a very good job of making things happen. Now, that's the informal approach to networking. Now, we have a great example of the formal versus the informal approach to working together in the news this week. Back in July, the city announced they were leading the way in creating neighborhood associations. The city declared these associations should deliver livability, public safety, community involvement, and recreation. Now, in February of the following year, the city is announcing it's removing neighborhood associations from its priorities due to lack of interest. Well, I don't know how anyone could have been interested in that. It's very top-down. It's not saying, hey, what do you want? It's, this is what you'll have. Top-down, formal, working together doesn't work really well. How different this might have been if we had started where we are, used what we have, and did what we could. Now, working with others when the need arose is how we went from living in caves to building thriving communities. By working together informally, we can all get what we want faster and keep our community thriving, and it won't cost you a penny.
I love it. You're so sneaky with your
I am a
networking.
sneaky guy.
Okay, so next week, what are we going to chat
Next
about?
week, we're going to talk about what's hot in small business. There's a resurgence of Main Street, and we'll talk about where that is and how it's coming along.
Ooh, what's hot, what's not.
That's right.
I like that stuff. All right, as always, go to kevinyourbusinesscoach.com. That's where Kevin resides online, and you can drop him a line there. You can also read all of his notes and get some great advice on things, too, and learn that networking isn't as tough as it needs to be.
It really isn't. It's actually quite a natural thing.
All right. Kevin, good to see you. Thanks
Thank
for stopping
you.
by.
Enjoy
We're
the
going to
sun.
take a break, and we're actually going to go back and revisit a conversation I had a few weeks ago about end-of-life issues. We had some people in with volunteer hospice, and specifically a couple of doctors talking about the importance of knowing what you want, what your relatives want or don't want when the end comes.
Yep.
We'll chat about that right after this.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
First Fed is proud of their 100-year tradition of giving back to the Clallam and Jefferson County community. The First Fed Foundation supports local organizations building a brighter future for the disadvantaged and the marginalized persons and families in Clallam and Jefferson County. Partnering with nonprofits like Peninsula Behavioral Health, supporting construction of 36 permanent, affordable supportive housing units for chronically homeless individuals and families in Port Angeles. The foundation also supports Serenity House of Clallam County and the West End Housing Resource Center, giving the ability to serve more of Clallam County's low-income and homeless population. The First Fed Foundation is committed to supporting nonprofits, tribes, school districts, and government agencies, providing critical, timely assistance and ensuring a brighter future for our community.
Fair weather turns our thoughts to outdoor projects. Hi, this is Clallam PUD, and we want you to be safe so you can enjoy the results of your hard work. It's easy. Call 811 2 business days before any work involving digging so underground utilities can be properly located and marked. Visit ClallamPUD.net for more safety tips about outdoor projects and more. Clallam County PUD, bringing energy to life.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The deposition of Hillary Clinton has resumed after a brief pause due to a leaked photo in the House Oversight Committee's closed-door session. Former President Bill Clinton will be deposed tomorrow in the House's probe into Jeffrey Epstein. ABC's Rachel Scott is in Chappaqua, New York.
A photo from Congresswoman Lauren Boebert was shared to a conservative influencer who then posted that photo on social media. Again, this advisor said that this was a violation of the chamber and the House rules that was laid out in the beginning of the deposition. And so the deposition moved off the record, and so that lawmakers and Clinton could discuss the rules and everything going forward before resuming, and then Democrats picking up eventually with the questioning inside.
In Geneva, Switzerland, talks on a nuclear deal resumed between the U.S. and Iran today, the U.S. pushing for a diplomatic solution, at the same time ramping up military forces in the Middle East. Iran's foreign minister signaling that progress was made. On Wall Street, stocks are mixed. This is ABC News.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by Olympic Game Farm. Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun this afternoon, with a chance for isolated rain showers. High temperatures reach up to 52, winds out of the west, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, chance of rain, lows level off around 37. Chance for rain tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 48. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Overcast skies Saturday, decreasing clouds by Sunday. Mid-40s Saturday, upper 40s by Sunday. Looking at the long range, 51 Monday, 52 Tuesday, and 50 on Wednesday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, 54.
Talk about a serious subject, but we hope it's going to enlighten you in a way that will make things a little easier, because this is going to affect everybody at some point, because that's just the way life is. And it's time for our quarterly talk with the folks from Volunteer Hospice here in Clallam County. And today we're going to talk a little bit about end-of-life medical care. And we're going to, I'll introduce folks, I think, as we get to them. So we're going to go to Jeanette Stair-Green, who always helps us with these programs. She's the super volunteer now at Volunteer Hospice.
Volunteer. I can just be called the volunteer.
But she's putting these shows together, so that's a good thing. So, I'm going to let her kind of set this up, and then we'll get into talk to a couple of the pros here about what it's like in the real world and what folks should know about end of life, not only for themselves, but their family members
exactly.
too. So.
I think a lot of the topics that we brought to the show are ones that have personal meaning and maybe mistakes that were made. And we've talked several times about my father's death and kind of how that all played out. And not everything went well, but today's topic may be so. And that's that whole idea of when the end is near, what kind of medical care do you want? And do you want the full court press? Do you want to keep breathing and your heart beating for as long as possible? Or, do you just want to kind of go quietly into that dark night? My father was 92 when he passed away, and he had had such a really good life. And for the last 10 years, he had been very clear to me that I don't want any heroics. I just want to go when my time comes. And that's easily said. How easily done is that? Well, as the end did near, his wife, who is a retired nurse, and I had kind of a confrontation. I unfortunately had to leave because of emergencies back at home here. And I was wondering what was going to happen. I knew he was going to pass not in my presence. And she's like, well, what happens if he stops breathing? And I'm like, just hold his hand. And should I call 911? And I'm like, just tell him you love him. And these sorts of things. And so to me, it's really important for people to think about what's right for them. And that might take a conversation with family members and your medical care providers, and then making sure everyone is aware of that.
And this is something, actually, Volunteer Hospice, you folks help folks with this, too. I mean, I think we don't realize that there are certain services you could tap into. If you're having difficulty navigating that, you can call you guys. Right?
Yes. I mean, hospice provides so many services, and one is just helping to educate the family and the patient about what it's going to be like and how do you approach it and how do you provide care to make it as comfortable and meaningful as possible. So, hospice is right there. And hospice patients, those last days, those last hours maybe have a very different look than for other people.
You noted, though, important, everybody's got to get on the same page.
Yes.
Right? Make sure you know what everybody wants.
Right.
And if you've got siblings or, and you had a good example in what you just said. You were not there all the time. So you're somebody who had kind of entered into the end of things there and then had to leave.
Right. And as they say, like making the decision is just half of the work. It's then communicating that with those who are likely to be around when your time comes, and maybe taking some more some written actions to that, so that it's very clear.
And that's what we're going to get into, I think, a little bit here as well. And we're going to talk with a couple of medical pros about what it really means in the real world and how it affects what they do in practice.
Right.
Literally, right, when you're out there. So we're going to welcome to our studios Dr. Tom Konp, who's a retired oncologist. Tom's, good to see you again. Thanks for stopping in.
Thank you.
And we also have Dr. Paul Craven here. He's an OMC emergency medicine physician as well. So, Paul, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by.
Nice being here.
These two both come from this from a perspective probably a little different and similar in some ways in patients that they've treated over time. So maybe I'll just start with that and have each of you weigh in on kind of what Jeanette just talked about from the medical professional that is maybe engaged with a family. So, Paul, emergency room doc. I guess this is one where things can happen fast, perhaps.
Things can happen very fast. And the other hat I wear is the Clallam County EMS medical director. Right. And so where it also happens super fast is for our EMS crews who are responding on scene when you call 911. And I think an important thing to kind of convey when we're dealing with end-of-life care, not to state the obvious, but for us family members who are watching someone dying, it's painful, okay? It's going to hurt. The problem I see from both the EMS side and the emergency medicine side is we make an assumption that our family members will be able to think clearly when that time comes. And that's not the time you want to have them solving complex situations. That's the time you need to let them grieve and be sad that you're passing. So what that means is having these conversations early, having them often, having clear expectations helps reduce that cognitive burden, so that way they can make decisions in real time that honor your wishes and what you want. And that's the important thing to convey. And that can look different for an EMS crew or in the emergency department, but the general thing evolves around, goals of care, ideally having it written and having that written statement easily accessible for people to find.
That's what I was just going to say. I mean, literally posted on the refrigerator is where this stuff should be, right?
Ideally, I would strongly not recommend putting it in your desk drawer in some sort of filing cabinet.
Yeah.
Because if you say it's there, for starters, the EMS crew will rip it apart trying to find it. And that's assuming they find it to honor your wishes.
So let's talk about that real quick, and then I'm going to get the other perspective in the room too from this. But this upholst agreement, it's a bright colored document usually,
yes,
right?
Yes, sir.
And that's on purpose.
That is on purpose. It is designed to be easily visible and distinguishable, so that way people can recognize it from far off in a room and know that's the form I need to look at.
That can outline all sort of levels of things, though. Just because someone has that on there doesn't mean that it might say, yeah, do everything you can to save me.
Correct.
Right?
It might say do everything. It might say what is called selective treatment, where it's I want certain things, but I don't want other things. Or it might say comfort measures. I want to make sure that I'm not in pain and that I'm comfortable when I pass.
So from a 911, from an EMS perspective, you roll into someone's house and this is happening. You see there, how does that change? I mean, that obviously makes the job, I'm not going to say easier, but how do you react to that after you read what's on one of those?
It changes everything in terms of goals of care. So if you have someone who is in cardiac arrest, that means we're going to go full speed. We are going to do CPR, which probably means we're going to break your ribs. We're going to intubate you or put some sort of airway device in to secure your airway. And if that's what you want for heroic measures, then we will do that. And we will do that with, decent success. But there's a trade-off that comes with that. That may not be what you want. A good lesson that was taught to me when I was in training was whenever you're making kind of end-of-life decisions, you need to ask yourself, are we prolonging life or are we postponing death? And that's an important thing that plays into it. And so having a pulse form on the flip side of that is if you want to be comfort measures only, we go down a completely different pathway. If you are in pain, we will give you pain medication. If you look like you're short of breath, we will give you medications to assist with that. But we're going down a completely different pathway in terms of how we respond.
And that's a good note, too, because some folks may say, hey, I just want comfort measures. And they think you're just going to walk away.
We're not going to
realize that you are going to do some treatment.
We are going to do something. I can tell you, as the medical director for the county, we have distinct protocols for palliative care to make sure that you are comfortable towards the end.
And that can start right in the living room of your house on a 911 call.
Yes, sir.
Right, as soon as that. Okay. Dr. Tom Cummins here as well. And in oncology, I mean, you deal with patients kind of at a whole different part of some of this. So talk a bit about kind of the importance of, we talked about a pulse thing, but it's important in a practice like when you're doing cancer care.
That's certainly true. And we always would try to do what the patient wants, make sure that their wishes are known. But in a lot of situations, everybody has the same wishes. I want to live as long as I can. I want to be as functional as I can. And when my time comes, I don't want to linger and die. But that's a hard decision to make in a lot of situations. It's hard to know what the future is. And you're really asking somebody to predict what is going to happen to me in the future. And much as I like to claim doctors are gods, right, guys? It turns out we're actually not. It turns out we can't predict the future very well. And so the situation about translating someone's wishes into hospital orders comes up for oncologists a lot. The Post says, I don't want to be kept alive artificially when it comes to that. But the question is, when does it come to that? And that's quite a challenge in a lot of circumstances. If you have a cancer for which you might be cured, you might wish that you would be kept alive artificially in order to go through your treatment so that you can have a big, successful outcome for that. On the other hand, the reason there are things like do not resuscitate or no code orders have been created so that if a person is in the hospital or is in the emergency room, they aren't kept alive artificially in a situation that's much more likely to end up with a tube in your lungs and a tube in your chest from the broken ribs and a big IV in your neck and a tube in your bladder, and then you're transferred to the intensive care unit and you're tied down so you don't pull the tubes out and you're sedated because you're thrashing around, and instead of watching somebody pass away peacefully like everybody would like the outcome to be, in fact, it's a miserable experience for everyone and very hard on the families. Oftentimes the patients are out of it and no longer experiencing it. So yes, it would be wonderful if all of our patients were 92 years old, had a good life, and said, I'm ready to let nature take its course. That's easy. But if you're 45 and you've got Hodgkin's disease and this pneumonia might take your life or it might not, you might want a lot done. So I always try to emphasize to people that post forms and DNR orders are wonderful things to have, but keep in mind they apply when you are no longer able to communicate what it is you want. So just signing a form, that doesn't mean that anybody is obligated to do what that form says. If you're sitting there saying, I would like everything done, or I don't want anything done, that form does not apply anymore.
Right. Yeah, you can say, hang on, even though it says that, I've changed my mind.
Correct. Right. People have the right to change their mind. And the other thing is, oftentimes the post forms, the advanced directives will say, when nothing else can be done, let me go. And trying to figure out when nothing else can be done. Thank God I'm not an emergency room doctor and have to figure that out sometimes. I'll let Dr. Craven handle that one, but it is a situation in which just because you signed a form does not mean you're giving up. We have patients who sign advanced directives that say, I won't want to be kept alive artificially, and I don't want my life prolonged, but now I need a surgical procedure or a blood transfusion or something else that might make things entirely different in the outcome, and that should be performed. So we try not to make people feel like they're giving up if they accept that the end is near. That's a decision that you really need to make oftentimes when the time comes, and not try to predict what's going to happen 7 years from now when my dementia gets so bad that I no longer
And that's a
can
whole
feed
other
myself.
point. Yeah, I mean, and that's the revisiting of the pulse as well, right? Things can change in your dynamic of your life.
Very true, very true. So it's never a commitment that you're obligated to follow what you wrote down 7 years ago.
I would imagine, boy, as a cancer patient, you just nailed it. In this day and age when there's so many things you can do to, perhaps put someone in a remission of something that maybe they wouldn't have had that opportunity even before because of methods and treatments and things. That's a toughie. I mean, it could have been 10 years ago, the verdict, so to speak, was quite different for somebody.
Correct. There are situations in which it is very difficult to make these decisions, and the important thing is, as a general rule, what do you want? But you always have the right, particularly when you are still conscious and communicable and in charge of your own health care, to make a decision about what exact things you're willing to do. And that's why it has to be addressed with your medical team at the time you are facing that particular crisis.
All right. Oh, go ahead.
And actually, this brings up a really good point about the different forms and stuff.
Yep.
Is that in the past shows we talked about the advance directive, and this is actually a legal document where you'll spell out what kind of care you want, who your healthcare agent will be, your proxy will be to make decisions if you can't speak yourself. But that's a legal document. That does not pertain, in a healthcare setting. The PULSE, which actually that acronym, I wanted to get that out there.
Yeah.
Portable orders for life-sustaining treatment. These are directions that you sign, but your physician, your primary care provider, also signs, and they are transferable. If you have EMS coming into your home, they can follow those directions. And so it's two very different things, and it's important to think about both of those methods of communication.
Good point. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to get a little bit more of the discussion about this with our doctors, as well as Jeanette Stair-Green, who's helped to organize this important conversation, I think, about advanced directives and all of the things that you may or may not want happening to you as you get to the end of your life. And we'll continue our discussion on it right after this.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
Welcome back to the program. We're talking about something very serious, but something that everybody probably should be considering. And I'm learning a little bit about this as well. Those are end-of-life medical care. What do you want? What don't you want? And doggone it, make sure everybody knows what that is and where your directives are at, so that when it comes to that point, the guys like I have in the room here today know where to find the documents and know exactly what it spells out. So we've been talking with Dr. Paul Craven, who's an emergency room doc, also works on the EMS side of things. And he actually, Paul, during the break, you said, let me give you a few examples, and you even have one as fresh as just 24 hours
Yes, sir.
of how a pulse was put into action.
Yeah, so, literally yesterday, I received what's called a medical command crew from EMS. So they're calling for additional advice on how to proceed on a case. Responded to a call of a patient who was unresponsive. To make a long story short, was in an obvious heart dysrhythmia that probably was going to kill them. But at bedside, they had a pulsed form that listed they were comfort measures only, so they would not want heroic measures. They would want to be kept comfortable. And they had contact information for a POA, so power of attorney, who could help make decisions in the event that they could not respond. In this particular case, they could not respond. So the crew reached out to that family member, confirmed the patient's wishes, and confirmed they did not want heroic measures. And the phone call to me was more, they want to be kept comfortable. These are the things we are seeing. These are the medications we are considering giving for keeping them comfortable. Just given the nature of what we're currently seeing right now, do you have any other suggestions? With the mindset of keep this patient comfortable so that way their death is peaceful and not painful. That was literally 24 hours ago. I received that phone call.
Now, did that person pass then at their house?
I believe so.
Okay.
So they were not, I can tell you, they were not transported.
Yeah. It's a question I have, though, is at what point do you transport somebody if they're in that sort of setting? is there a certain wait time before it's like, we might need to get this person to a place where this is going to take longer than,
So it depends on what is already set up. So if they're connected with great organizations like Volunteers in Hospice, oftentimes that is set up and we do not need to do transport.
There you go. Okay.
Oftentimes we work closely with our partners. So if there's something that, a hospice organization is seeing that maybe they can't handle, then they will call us and request transport so we can honor the patient's wishes.
Okay, very good. Very curious about that, just given that last one. Now, Tom's got kind of a personal story a bit about how some of this works. I don't know if you wanted to share some of that as well, but fill us in on kind of what we talked about, what happened with you in the break.
What happened with me was that I had a sister younger than I am who passed away. In her case, it was cancer, but the principles could have been any life-limiting illness, end-stage heart disease or dementia or any of the other things that can cause people's lives to be shortened. But in my sister's case, it was cancer, and she wanted to live as long as she could. She's got 2 little grandbabies she wanted to see grow up, and she considered herself a fighter and was not going to give up. And as a result of that, when the cancer came back after the initial treatment, came back after the second-line treatment, and ultimately spread to her brain and her spinal cord, the outcome that she wanted was not going to happen. And her medical team approached her with the idea of signing a do not resuscitate order because in the provider's mindset, the probability was it would result in a prolonged death rather than any significant prolongation of quality of life. And all of us have seen patients stuck in ICUs on ventilators with tubes everywhere and sedated and tied down, and it's just a miserable experience. But for my sister, it felt like she was giving up. She did not really want to sign a DNR order, fearful that it meant that she wouldn't receive as much care as possible. So I have to confess it took a lot of conversation to convince her that a do not resuscitate order in a hospital does not mean you don't get surgery, you don't get chemotherapy, you don't get radiation. You get what you need to prolong your quality of life. But when it's simply going to, when the probability is it is more likely to result in a terrible death than any real prolonged life, you're not giving up. You're protecting yourself and your family from a miserable experience.
How do you consult? I mean, that was a personal story for you, but do you consult with patients that way?
The vast majority of patients, and frankly, myself included, want to live as long as I can.
Right. Yeah.
I'd like to live as long as I can. I have no particular interest to pass away. So, yes, any rational patient says I want to live as long as I can. And while, again, it's nice, my father was 80 when he was in Jeanette's father's situation. It's nice when you're 92 and you're ready to let it go. But for the vast majority of us, this is going to hit us when we're not just ready to let it go. Death is fine, just not right now. I mean, a little while from now, okay. But I'm not ready today. And so I want to live as long as I can. And it hurts when the house staff, the physicians and nurses come in and say, we would recommend you sign a DNR order. Baloney, you're here to keep me alive. I don't want to give up.
Right.
So it is rational, it's understandable, and it's hard for patients who've grown up watching ER where, these ER doctors resuscitate people in like 30 seconds and they come back more beautiful than they were before their cardiac arrest. But that's not the probable outcome for the vast majority of us.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Jeanette.
Well, I was just going to say we've been kind of looking at this from the point of view where the providers, the physicians are encouraging the patients. It can be the patient starts out by meeting with their primary care provider and saying, hey, I'm thinking about advanced directives. What are your thoughts about that? To start engaging the provider, because indeed these guys are in the business they're in because they want to keep people alive and healthy. So they aren't always the ones to bring up this topic either. So I think we as individuals can take the power and start the conversation and get a sense, what do you think? What are the kind of things that might happen to me? How will I do if I have CPR? Those sort of conversations, very frank and open, can then give you the power to start talking with family and friends about it and really start making your own decisions.
Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
The North Peninsula's news, the North Peninsula's talk. News Radio KONP, Port Angeles Squim, a Radio Pacific station.
Step into Spoon Bar Suites in downtown Squim, where everything feels just a little more magical. Their hand-scooped milkshakes are pure happiness in a cup, but the bakery case? Oh, that's where the love lives. Cookies that melt in your mouth, golden pastries, and cupcakes topped with clouds of frosting, all baked in-house with a whole lot of heart. Sit and relax inside with a cup of Rain Shadow coffee. Spoon Bar Suites, bringing a little extra sugar to your day every day.
Bathfitter is celebrating over 42,000 installations in Western Washington. That's 42,000 bathrooms made safer, cleaner, and more stylish. And for a limited time, we're doubling our tax season offer, giving up to $1,000 off your dream bath. Custom-fit tub and shower solutions are installed in as little as 1 day, with complete removal of your old setup. Every installation backed by a lifetime warranty. Visit bathfitternw.com to schedule a free consultation. Hurry, this offer won't last.
Looking for affordable home ownership on the peninsula? Mountain View Homes has you covered. Enjoy high-quality craftsmanship at 40% less than traditional homes. You heard me, 40% less. We offer full-service land packages from dirt to turnkey, delivering beautiful, efficient manufactured homes on your chosen site. With 3 convenient locations, including Carlsberg, we're here to serve you. Visit mtviewhomes.com today to learn more. Mountain View Homes, where affordability meets quality.
All right, welcome back. One more segment. We're going to talk a bit more about end-of-life medical care, setting up the documents, the agreements, even the discussion about what you may or may not want, what that really means, and also remembering you have the right to change your mind as long as you're cognizant of what's going on. So it's not necessarily the end-all, be-all of things. If you're still around and wanting to fight, you can fight. So I'm going to go to Jeanette, and let's talk a bit about how you get this. You mentioned about bringing up the conversation. That might be the first thing you can do as a patient.
Well, I think, and I think it's important that everybody realizes in Washington State, all adults of sound mind can make the decision about what's right for them. And that includes end-of-life care and heroic measures. So this is your right. And so I really think people throughout their lives should be thinking about these sorts of things. And like, what is right for you? What is your current state of health? How are you most likely to end up after any kind of heroic measures? And what is quality of life to you? I mean, more power to you if watching nature documentaries and just being in bed is enough for you to enjoy life. But if your quality of care is not to the level that you want, you need to think seriously about how that impacts any kind of heroic measures. So first is just thinking about it. And I think engaging folks like Dr. Craven and Dr. Cummett and just having that conversation with your healthcare provider can kind of inform the direction you head.
Then talk with your family, though, too, right? That's an important key.
It's a 1-2 punch.
And sometimes, that's part of what you shared at the beginning with your situation.
I think it's really important to communicate how you feel about things, because this at the bedside, when things are happening fast and nasty and everybody's so emotional, if a doctor or an EMS provider looks at a child and says, "Should we let your mother go?" I mean, what's going to be the result? Yeah. I mean, no, never. I don't want, I always want my mother to be with me. So to make sure that they're clear, not just your decision, but your reasoning behind it, because then they can oh, yeah, that's right. That wouldn't be, that quality of life wouldn't be great and you're in pain and that sort of thing. So communicating, and that can take the form of actually sitting down and having discussions. But I think the other is that really getting things down in writing is incredibly important. And it's important for folks out there to realize that healthcare directive is different than the PULSE, the portable orders for life-sustaining treatment. And then Dr. Konp referred to a DNR, a do not resuscitate, which is actually something that is in the hospital setting, that has to be signed in the hospital setting by the doctor. With the advanced directive, that is something that the individual comes up, they get it signed, they have to have it witnessed by other people, but not healthcare providers. The PULSE has to be signed by your primary care provider to be initiated by and used by any other medical care providers. And then again, the DNR, the do not resuscitate, is totally within the hospital setting.
Can I put a DNR, though, in my directives, though, so that it's just always, I'm just saying it, because it sounds like you have to renegotiate that, I guess, every time. Is that
Yes, that's correct.
Right. I
That's
think people
correct.
need to understand how that works. And that's something I know, having been through it with family members, that's brought up. I mean, when someone comes in and it's like, it's, not dire, but we may have issues, there's always the question. And I think that's probably on a checklist, right?
That is on a checklist.
Yeah, it's like we have to ask this family, this patient, if they want a DNR.
That is correct.
And it could change. I mean, I guess you could see somebody in an ER setting one day. They say, I want a DNR, but they could come back a day later, and you need to ask them that again, probably, right?
That is
because they
absolutely
can change
correct.
their mind.
People can change their mind, and absolutely, I have had conversations with patients where, on the same shift, within a few hours, we have changed, decisions, and that's based off of new information that has come to light.
Okay.
So.
Yep,
Which brings up a really important thing. When I was discussing with Dr. Craven and some of his colleagues in the emergency medical services, is a tattoo does not work.
Oh yeah.
Not a legal binding document.
Yeah, okay.
And it can't be changed easily. And this is the beauty of it, is you can change your mind one way or the other. So don't rely on tattoos.
Great resources and a great conversation today. Thanks, all three of you, for coming in. That's Jeanette Steer-Green there, who helps organize this for us and volunteers so much now with hospice here locally. And Dr. Paul Craven, thanks so much for coming in. Good to see you.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
it. Dr. Tom Konp as well. Good to see you again as well.
Thank you.
Thanks for stopping by. We're going to take a break, and we'll wrap up things on our show right after this.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
It's Olympic Hot Tub's floor model finale. Don't experience FOMO. Get in now and save thousands on remaining 2025 floor model hot tubs. But hurry, our floor model finale ends February 28th. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Hi, this is John Holm, president of Tri-State Roofing, your local and family-owned company covering the entire Olympic Peninsula area. The difference with Tri-State Roofing is we separate ourselves with the quality of products we offer, customer service, including an A+ rating with the BBB, solid safety plans, and the best labor guarantees around. Call 360-208-2222.
Tri-State Roofing, we got you covered.
Hi, this is Clallam PUD. If you're always on the go, you'll love our Smart Hub mobile app. You can pay your bill, report outages or other problems, and unlock new ways to save energy through monitoring your usage history, all from your phone. It's more than an app. It's a key to saving time and money. Innovation in your pocket, that's power. Download the app from our website at clallampud.net. Clallam PUD, bringing energy to life.
Finding reliable home services in our area can be a challenge. But when it comes to glass, windows, and doors, trust the experts at Harnagle Glassworks. Our employee-owned glass teams have over 80 years of combined installation experience, and with a 100% 5-star rating on Google, our customers can't be wrong. We handle sales, installation, repairs, and replacements for windows, glass and exterior doors, shower enclosures, railings, and more. Do not fall for out-of-town window companies with questionable sales tactics and insanely high prices. Stick with a team you can trust. We're local, employee-owned, and the choice of homeowners and builders who know quality work matters. And if your project qualifies for energy rebates, we'll handle the paperwork. As the weather improves, wait times increase, so don't wait. Contact us today. Get more info by going to hbsglassworks.com. And as always, we deeply appreciate you for shopping local and employee-owned.
Come see Price Ford when shopping for your next new or pre-owned vehicle. Interested in a new Ford F-150 for those tough tasks? A sleek Ford Mustang? Or a versatile Escape for your daily commute? Price Ford has a comprehensive selection for every need and budget. Our knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect vehicle that fits your lifestyle and budget. Price Ford, next to Walmart in Port Angeles. Always right on the price.
Hey drivers, it's Ryan Blaney, driver number 12 Discount Tire Ford Mustang Dark Horse in the NASCAR Cup Series. Quick tire checks during a pit stop can make all the difference between finishing strong and falling behind. Off the track, checking your tires regularly is important to ensure the safety of your vehicle. Stop by a local tire retailer for a tire safety check, or try the penny test at home to check your tread.
A message from the U.S. Tire Manufacturers Association.
The North Olympic Peninsula's news station, News Radio KONP Port Angeles Squim, AM 1450, FM 101.7 and 101.3, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Just outside New York City, House Oversight Committee members deposed Hillary Clinton today as part of the committee's investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. That hearing paused briefly after a photo was leaked, which was against committee rules in the closed-door deposition. ABC's Perry Russum says Democrats on the committee held a briefing outside the venue in Chappaqua, New York.
So they kind of gave some headlines, according to them, about what the former Secretary of State had to say in that deposition behind closed doors. They say Clinton testified that she never met Jeffrey Epstein, never went to the island, never went on the plane, never had any knowledge of his crimes, and they say she answered the questions in full faith.
Tomorrow, Bill Clinton, the former president, will be deposed about his interactions with Epstein through his Clinton Global Initiative. A Columbia University student from Azerbaijan has been released from ICE custody after being detained by DHS earlier today, taken from her dorm room. New York City's Mayor Zoran Mandami, who was scheduled to meet with President Trump earlier at the White House today, says after that meeting he called the president about the student, and the president agreed to order her release. ABC's Crystal Cranmore has more.
The university states that law enforcement agencies trying to gain entry into non-public areas of the university must have a judicial warrant or judicial subpoena. Administrative warrants are not sufficient, and protocol requires that law enforcement wait to access non-public areas until the Office of General Counsel has been notified. The incident raising concerns from local and state lawmakers.
In Geneva, Switzerland today, talks on a nuclear deal between the U.S. and Iran resumed. The U.S. pushing for a diplomatic solution, at the same time also ramping up military forces in the Middle East. Iran's foreign minister signaled progress was made. In Chicago today, family, friends, and members of the public paying their respects at the Rainbow Push Coalition headquarters, where the Reverend Jesse Jackson is lying in repose. The civil rights leader died February 17th. His funeral set for next week. You're listening to ABC News.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
The U.S. says it's working to verify information about 4 people killed on board that Florida-registered boat yesterday following a shootout with Cuban troops in the waters off Cuba. 6 others on the boat were injured. ABC's Martha Raditz has more.
The individuals were armed with assault rifles, handguns, Molotov cocktails, bulletproof vests, and camouflage uniforms.
The information that's out there is information that's been provided by the Cubans. We are going to verify that information independently and reach our own conclusions.
Before these allegations emerged, Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying diplomats are working to gather more information.
Cuban authorities are also claiming that they think the U.S. could have been involved. Burger King is the latest company to get in on the artificial intelligence craze. It's aimed at improving the customer experience and having it their way.
The home of the Whopper is now launching Patty, a new AI assistant for employees. Using a headset, Burger King workers can ask Patty how to make certain menu items or get reminders.
Looks like the women's restroom needs cleaning.
That's very helpful, Patty. I'll get to it right away.
Patty's also designed to listen in on workers' interactions with customers, even tracking how often they say please and thank you.
The team's friendliness scores this morning were the highest this week.
Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
After a 41-day strike, 4,000 nurses returning to work at New York Presbyterian's Hospital today after voting to ratify a new contract. Michelle Franz.
KONP News brought to you by RE/MAX Evergreen Real Estate. Outstanding agents, outstanding results. 457-6600. Port Angeles police conducting an evidence search this week near 700 North Ennis Street, close to where the road meets the Olympic Discovery Trail across from the old Rainier Mill site. Investigators say that search is connected to the disappearance of 27-year-old Marley Zimmerman, who's been missing since January of 2025. According to her family, Zimmerman left her home about 2 a.m. wearing all black and carrying a light green or tan backpack. Police say the case is still active. They would not confirm to us whether the search represents any new evidence, though. Meantime, Zimmerman's family offering a $5,000 reward for any information.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun this afternoon with a chance for isolated rain showers. High temperatures reach up to 54, winds out of the west, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Chance for rain tonight, lows dip down to about 37, partly cloudy skies. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Tomorrow, chance for rain, high temperatures reach up to 48. Overcast skies Saturday with a high of 46, 49 Sunday. Looking further out, 51 Monday, 52 Tuesday, and 50 on Wednesday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently 52.
Normal is broke and common sense is weird. So we're here to help you transform your life. From the Ramsey Network in the Fairwinds Credit Union studio, this is The Ramsey Show. The phone number to jump in, 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. Alongside the lovely Rachel Cruz, I'm Ken Coleman. We're excited to be here to help you today. We started off with Lucas in Austin, Texas. Lucas, how can we help?
Hey, I am calling in because I was looking for a way to manage my finances better. And I'm 28 years old. I'm single. I have some credit card debt as well as some student loan debt.
Okay, so just an overall direction is what you're looking for from us?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, yeah. So how much debt does all that total?
So it's probably closer to about 30,000.
30,000. Okay. How much of that is credit card and how much is that student loan?
So it's $14,500 in credit card and student loan is about $20,000.
20. Okay, cool. And how much do you make a year?
I make about $32,000 a year, or $16 an hour.
Okay. What do you do?
I work in mobile device repair and sales.
Okay. For a cell phone company type thing in a store?
Yeah,
okay.
Basically.
Perfect. Okay, great. Well, I'd love for Ken to jump in on just the career side, because I think you still have so much ahead of you.
Where do you want to be?
Well, right now I'm kind of in an in-between spot because, I like what I do and I like working with, physical technology and things like that. But then trying to transition to something a little bit more, viable for the future is kind of what I'm looking into. Probably trying to get into more like data processing and things like that.
Okay. So have you done enough research to know what that could look like as far as position A, position B, position C?
Not yet. I'm still kind of in the phase of trying to figure out like which direction to go with it. I mean, I've been looking into more like data science and things like that. So that's kind of where I'm at in trying to transition my career path over there.
Okay. Well, real quick, and we'll get back to Rachel here and kind of walk you through what you need to do. But you do need to increase your income, and I'm saying that separate of us trying to figure out which long-term direction that you're going to go. So while you are in the process of discovery, and I'm going to help you with that in just a moment, you still need to be making more money, because right now at 28 and single with the debt you have, the one thing you have is time, and you need to make time. So whether that's some freelancing in the same space that you're in, or doing some freelance in technology. And again, we're not talking about a career choice. We're saying, I need a second job and I need to make an additional $2,000 to $3,000 a month. That would be the goal that I would give you. So what you would do is say, what can I do now that will allow me to make an additional $2,000 to $3,000 a month? Because you're at $32,000 a year, I believe is what you said. And so you need to increase that, and that will allow you to get through the steps that Rachel's going to walk you through. But here's what I give you, quick advice. I love that you have an idea of the direction you want to go. What I would do is use this idea that I've introduced before called the proximity principle. And it's simply this. I want to get around people that are in the space or spaces that I'm considering. And that's lunch, that's coffees, that's, hey, will you connect me to somebody over here that you know, and you want to do a good old-fashioned term paper. And you're going to sit with this person and ask enough questions that you could do a term paper on their job. We're talking high school term paper, nothing complex. And what you're doing there is you're getting clarity on the role itself, what it takes to win in the role, what it takes to get qualified the role, how I get placed, how I move up. And in doing all of that, your head and heart are going to get connected. The head's the information, the heart will be the emotion to say, I'm excited about that. I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to give you at the end of the call, I'm going to give you my book, Find the Work You're Wired to Do. It has the Get Clear assessment in it. It's going to take you about 20 minutes. It's going to really help you. So that's my gift to you, okay?
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank
but
you.
listen, more money. Now, Rachel, he starts making more money. What does that look like to pay off this debt?
Yeah, because those are your two big parts of the equation, Lucas, is the income side and the expenses side. But you're probably only bringing home, what, $3,000 a month-ish, would you say?
It's more, yeah, it's closer to about $2,000.
Yeah.
About $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
How are you paying? Are you living at home?
So I live with two roommates. I only pay about $600 a month, and I rent two rooms in a house.
Perfect. Good for you. That's great, because the living expenses is usually one of your highest line items in the budget. And so for a lot of people, they're paying, $1,000, even $2,000 for mortgage.